The Beating Dusk by Álvaro Efrain Martinez, España. Chapter 1.
It was barely 9:07 on a summer Tuesday morning. An email alert had sounded in the Gustavo Amadero delegation, which called Mr. Arturo Cervantes, Judicial Chief Police attention, who had arrived just a few minutes before.
Now, what have we got here?
Hey boss, how is it going? What's new today?
Chief Police Cervantes had just begun checking his inbox when Joseph, his office boy, arrived like every single day with the same enthusiastic mood. When the young man saw his boss lean into the computer screen, he decided to approach and say hello.
Morning, kid. Indeed, I was just diving into the bunch of emails I received in the last 12 hours. It seems like people prefer to bother me during the night.
Oh, I see. Anything interesting up to now?
Well, as I told you, I just began, but it seems there is in fact something important. It comes from the public prosecutor's office. Voila! Marquitos Castañeda. It's been a while since I last heard of him.
No, kidding? What does he say?
Well, he wrote a few lines. What's up, bro? How are you doing? Well, you'll see, I need your help once again. There's been a murder. I know that ain't new stuff. There's one every 13 minutes, but this one particularly reminds me to something. I'm not quite sure what it is. You're the one to tell me.
Arturo couldn't hide the expectation in his voice. He had suddenly become interested in the case. Joseph's attention had been caught as well. So, he gave himself the permission to continue reading the email out loud.
Here it says that it all occurred in the playground of the school Belisario Dominguez, right in front of the Chinese restaurant where you guys had dinner while discussing something about...
Interrupted Chief Police Cervantes to his pupil and continued.
Anyway, Marcos is talking about an interesting murder. A teenage woman between 15 and 17 years, almost naked, no evidence of sexual abuse, but it seems she was tortured.
They are waiting for Rojas analysis. Oh, I know this guy. He's the new forensic expert. I ran into him last time I was sent to the prosecutors to pick up some formats.
Interrupted Cervantes, a tad annoyed and impatient by his pupil's jibber-jabber.
It seems like our murderer has traveled a few miles from home to commit his crime. Castañeda believes he's not from town, not even from the state. I wonder why he infers that particular fact.
And here comes the interesting part. Whoever had done it may actually have strong issues with authority, women, and God.
There's no suspicion about mafia being involved, neither any messages, but whatever we can extrapolate from the crime scene. He sent a couple of pictures to me to examine. Castañeda actually looks interested in this case.
A deep, stiff silence filled the environment. Joseph, now, felt a tad awkward, whistled his boss turned anxious. Arturo looked around the room quietly, and he stared then to the tiny gold medal set on his desk. Arturo, the Wolf Cervantes, Chief Police. He looked back into the moment of his life when he had been called like that for the first time. It had been one of the first cases he was in charge of, as the boss. That's where his smelling power played its main role. Cervantes was gifted. He could read people, facts, details like anyone else.
Well, apart from getting a cool nickname in the corporation, one should focus on cultivating his brain abilities. Look at me, 56 years old cop, 30 of them devoted to the service, a whole life dedicated to my career. And all that to get this point, being the boss, achieving much and reaching power. That's the key word, my dear Padawan. Power.
So what, boss? Are you using that power of influence in favor of the presented case?
Of course not, kid. Cases like this one require for way much more than just a few contacts in my agenda. But if your question is if I'm going to take part into this issue, Well, you can bet I am.
Magnificent! I believe you should dive into those pictures right away and find out what's all that about.
Sure, my dear boy. Here it is. It seems like Castañeda saved a few details for himself about this case, huh? Well. What have we got here? This poor young lady, laying in the floor right in the center of basketball court, arms extended to the sides and held in by pieces of iron trespassing the flesh of the palms, legs extended as well with her feet joined together and tortured the same way.
Oh, please, tell me this is just a cruel joke.
I'm afraid it is not, my boy, believe it or not.